My name is Greg Searle. I was an Olympic gold medalist rower back in 1992. I also won a bronze medal in London 2012. And I've been a business coach for about 20 years, working one-on-one with people or working with teams or departments or organisations. And it's interesting these times we're in right now. And I think about how we came together in London 2012, how we came together this week and celebrated the end of World War II. And I think about the spirit of friendliness now that I experience when I go for a walk around my house and think about this COVID-19 crisis and what we're living in. How there's something actually quite similar when we have this real common purpose, and we have to stop and think, what really matters? Why are we here? And I think that why we're here and what really matters and how we're going to behave feels really, really important right now if we're to thrive in these difficult situations. I remember thinking about the rowing times, and the cox who used to sit in the back of our boat was really clear on why each of us was sitting in the boat, what was important to us, what mattered the most. I came back for London 2012 to compete in front of the home crowd. I loved the idea that we were going to inspire a generation and my children would be there to watch me. And in the middle of the Olympic final, that cox in the back of the boat called out the names of Josie and Adam and got me to pull a little bit harder because he knew why I was there. He knew what was really going to drive me the hardest. We also thought about how we behaved and what we valued with each other to help us go fast. And I remember how when I was in that team, in that 8, every time we went training, we'd finish our difficult session, but we'd stand together in a circle and we'd remove our sunglasses, we'd look each other in the eye, have a real honest conversation about what we'd done each day, how we could get better for the next day, celebrate the positives, but look each other in the eye and have honest conversations and be present with each other. And then this week, when we've been talking about VE Day and the end of World War II, and I watched these the stories of people like Captain Tom Moore and the effort that he's put into that walk up and down his garden, and then you hear the stories of him and all the veterans, the ones who came back and sadly those who didn't, and then we share the stories about what happened in World War II, and again the same way they were very clear on why they were there and what they were doing, what they were fighting for and what mattered. And then there was how they were going to behave, and the way that they behaved in that time was this massive selfless sacrifice. Thinking beyond what was important to them, but thinking of the bigger picture. And now I think about the situation we're living in this COVID-19 crisis. And I try to make myself stop and think, why are we making these difficult choices? And it's not like the sacrifices that the key workers are making, the people on the front line at the NHS and these other services. I'm not making those sacrifices, really. I'm at home. I'm trying to do the right things and largely make good choices each day for myself, for my family, and I'm stopping and I'm speaking to my neighbours, and it's brilliant to stop and speak to my neighbours, and on VE Day to go out and enjoy their company and have different, better conversations about things that really matter with each other, and to stop and have this spirit of friendliness when I'm out on my walk each day. And each morning to think what's really important and what do I value the most, and I guess I'm thinking about my personal health and getting up and I'm doing the Joe Wicks workout every morning and thinking, how do I look after myself so I can look after the people closest to me, and then thinking about spending time with my children and doing that version of standing in the circle that we can spend more time together and try and choose some times when we can sit around the table and play games or just talk. Just be present with each other, talk about what matters, talk about what we've done well and we've enjoyed today. Maybe try and talk about what we might do differently tomorrow to try and make things better for each other. And then thinking about what I can do for the people who are in my street, whether that's shopping for someone or just when I go to the shop, whether I'm prepared to let someone go in the queue in front of me. And how I'm thinking about the people who are really important, like my parents, and how I'm connecting with them, and how we're all doing things differently and using this time when we can't do what we did before, but we think of new ways and using technology and getting my parents onto a Zoom call and having a different kind of conversation and showing how we care for each other and look after each other more in these times, and stopping and thinking about what really matters, and then making these different choices. So think about the things that I've been able to do differently in the last 7 weeks, and how great the environment feels, that it's quiet when you walk out of your house, and crossing the road there's not loads of traffic, that my car is largely stationary on the drive, and how good that feels. And I just think about the things that I'm able to do now, and I want to try and think, what are the habits that I can get into now? Because as an Olympic athlete, I was able to get into good habits that each and every day I did things and made choices that I could feel proud of, and that made me go a little bit faster, and hopefully made me a slightly better athlete each day. And I just hope now I'm making choices that are the right choices each day that help all of us. And I hope we can all do the right things, look after each other, and those days add up, that having good days, being present with each other, looking after ourselves will add up to good weeks. Those become good months, and ultimately we can see ourselves through this. And although it's difficult and we're not getting all of the opportunities we would normally get, we can at least try and value the things that are special about this time, and enjoy what we're doing when we're doing it, and recognise hopefully this is a time that will be over fairly soon in the long run, and we'll be able to do some things well, make some changes, make them permanent, and do some things differently forever. So look, I hope you found this interesting to listen to. Thank you very much for listening, and for all of us, really, all the very best. Thanks.